Well, hello again. So we had finished off the last lecture that I gave over general sensations. We talked about what a sensory receptor was, how we can identify receptors, and different types of receptors. So now we're going to talk about referred pain. We're then going to get into phantom pain just briefly, and we'll talk about two of our special senses. So referred pain, in a nutshell, is pain that is found in one region of the body but is associated with another region of the body. And we've all had referred pain when we've had like an ice cream headache. So where is the pain located? We feel it here. But where is the pain actually, the receptors? In our mouth, the roof of our mouth. And that's called referred pain. And so what happens is, if you remember, our spinal cord has large nerves coming off, and the nerves are both motor and sensory information. And so what happens is information runs to different parts of the body, either to a dermatome of the skin, or it might run to an internal organ. But they're both located within that same nerve, because there's lots of neurons in a nerve. And so the information gets kind of mixed up. And so the pain, which should be moving to one area, ends up being relocalized in a different area. And so this is an example of referred pain. Appendicitis occurs when the appendix, which is found attached to the cecum of the large intestines, this is the first region of the large intestines, is damaged or is inflamed. So damaged, but inflamed. But when the information moves to the CNS, the response comes back as pain associated with the umbilical region. And so we push on that umbilical region, and when we release the pressure, if the pain is greater when we release the pressure, that's often associated with appendicitis. Even though it's the umbilical region that you're feeling the pain in, your appendix is what is causing the pain. Other types of referred pain, most people have seen or have heard of cardiac problems being associated with arm pain and jaw pain and neck pain. So when you're having a heart attack, for males especially, the heart is not getting the oxygen it needs. So the heart muscle is actually being impaired and is dying. But the pain is running down the left arm, up into the jaw, and on the neck. And that's because, again, the dermatome, the region that feeds the heart, so the neurons that actually innervate the heart, and the neurons that send signals to the arm are in that same nerve, and so the pain is being referred to the arm from the heart. And this is my favorite little picture showing brain freeze, which I talked about. So these are different sites where we have referred pain. So our gallbladder is here, but we often feel pain in our neck, our shoulder, and right along our back, our upper back. So very painful. I've had my gallbladder out. I have had gallbladder attacks, and it's very painful. The appendix here, our appendix is actually down here, but the appendix pain is here. The heart is the other big one that I like to talk about. The heart runs all the way down here and up, and often it goes into the jaw as well. So Another type of pain is called phantom pain. Phantom pain is pain associated with a region of the body that you no longer have. So most of the time when we think of phantom pain, we're looking at individuals that have lost a limb. And so here is an individual who has lost a leg. And you can see that down here, he's lost a leg. But he can still have pain in that leg, in the foot. He could have cramping of the foot, even though he doesn't have the foot, because the nerves that were there could still be alive and sending signals. And so one way that we fix the pain, because we don't actually have that body region to rub and fix, we can show them the leg, and then they can relax the leg, or they can scratch the itch, or whatever it is, and it helps to alleviate that pain that they're having. All right, so the last two things I want to talk about in this mini lecture is olfaction and taste. And I talk about them together because they are very much inseparable. And one of the labs that we'll do is over olfaction and taste. It's one of my favorite labs. You get to feed each other, so kind of fun. Olfaction is your sense of smell. It's the ability to take in odorant information from the environment. The odorant molecules move into the nasal cavity, and they have to dissolve in the nasal mucus. So the odorant molecules have to dissolve so that we can take them in through our olfactory hair cells. And the hair cells are tiny little neurons that have no myelin sheaths, that's what I want to say, sorry. They have no myelin sheaths, they just have little dendrites hanging out in the external environment. So these neurons actually have to be regenerated oftentimes. And because of that, we have receptor cells that detect the odors. We have support cells that help to protect the receptors. And then we have stem cells that are constantly replacing the olfactory receptor cells because they're getting damaged so often. And so here you can see the odorant molecules in the mucosal layer. Here are the little dendrites taking in information, and there's our cell body that's going to send signals out through the axons to neighboring neurons. And I mentioned that they're unmyelinated already. You can see the stem cells here, and the support cells are right next to the actual receptors. So smell is something that we adapt very fast to. The channels for smell, ion channels for smell, as soon as they have taken in information, the channels are altered and they don't take in a lot more information, which means we're going to adapt really quickly to odors. And this is what causes people's houses, if they have cats, this is a big one. If they have cats in a litter box, people don't always recognize that the litter box has a smell to it because they get used to that smell. They adapt. And when someone else walks in, it'll take them time to adapt to that same smell. It is also why people that dress or put a lot of perfume on, or people that forget to take a shower, cause other people to feel ill because they're either over perfumed because they didn't smell their perfume on themselves, or they don't realize that they're stinky. Taste then is gustation, and we use tasted molecules that have to dissolve in our saliva. So without saliva, kind of fun fact, we won't taste anything. And so gustatory cells are found within papilla on our tongue. Papilla are tiny little bumps that are on our tongue, are the tiny little bumps that are on our tongue. we have papilla that function for a lot of different things. So not just taste, but texture, temperature, and even for helping to manipulate food. So the majority of the papilla on our tongue do not function in taste. But taste is a huge portion of what our tongue is used for. I mean, we really do use our tongue for taste. So gustatory cells also, like the olfactory cells, are open to the external environment. They have dendrites that hang out, and because of this, we also have stem cells right here, basal stem cells, that are constantly replacing gustatory cells because they get damaged very easily. And then we have the supporting cells, which is this one between each of those gustatory cells. The different types of papilla, we have lots of papilla along here. You can see papilla here. You can see some different papilla over here. Larger papilla structures, and then small papilla throughout. Filiform papilla are the short papilla that are found throughout the tongue. And what these papilla do is they detect texture and they help us in manipulating food. They have nothing to do with actual taste, but texture has a lot to do with taste. If the texture is not right, then a lot of times people can't eat the food. Some people like the taste of bananas, but they can't eat it because of the texture, or pudding, or jello, or oatmeal. For me, fish has a weird texture, and I don't like the way it feels in my mouth. So even though the flavor is good, the texture is weird, and I don't really care for it. Fungiform papilla are found on the sides of our tongue as well as on the roots of our tongue, or not root, I'm sorry, the tip of our tongue. These contain a few taste buds, but not very many. We have these, and I know I don't have it mentioned, but these foliate papilla over here, these are only used in infancy and young children. The taste buds there, they eventually will degenerate and you will have no taste buds at all as an adult in that region. But it's these valate taste buds back here that have the majority of the taste receptors, the gustatory cells. And that's where the majority of our taste occurs. So if you push food to the back of the mouth, you can really taste things well. Taste and olfaction go hand in hand. If you can't smell it, you're not going to be able to taste it near as effectively as if you were able to smell. This is why when you have a cold, typically food doesn't taste as good and you're not as hungry, even though most of the time people say you need to eat to gain more energy so that you can fight off the infection. But you're not that hungry because food doesn't taste that good when you can't smell. We're going to stop here and we will start on vision in the next mini lecture. Bye.